girl, irrespective of what country she's from or region, irrespective of her age, should have a choice and should have a future. Post-abortion care is about the life of that girl, like Wanjika, and not about her age or her poverty situation or whether she can pay for healthcare or not or her sexual orientation. It's about her life. Hashtag seeking to access services irrespective of age and sexual orientation. Hashtag develop meaningful youth engagement strategies in your countries. Hashtag ICPD is not just an agenda. Make sure you place key recommendations in your countries. Now, moving on to our final youth speaker, Jairo. Jairo, you're going to help me with the surname. Rodriguez? Is that right? Jairo is a human rights program coordinator in Guyana Responsible Parenthood Association, Guyana's leading sexual and reproductive health and rights NGO and service provider. Wow, you've come from far. And we're glad that you're here to share your views and your experience as well. Thank you, Jairo.
Hello, everyone. I would like to begin my presentation with a poem. Lord God, I'm tired to hear it. I'm tired to hear it so till. All them big talk. Women are our natural resources. Women are the backbone of this country. Me not born in a nobody back, not rib out to nobody's side. Is you don't think they go fool while they still treat we to no count wages? And we shouldn't mind that we riding fine enough dirty song? A boom shaka boom on every street corner. You ass man, stop put me down. Stop it, not in your dirty song or even in your higher editorial. You can confuse, abuse, and mess with your own self till you're good and ready to deal with I as a real somebody. But until that day come, left me alone. I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a girl pick me. This poem, written by Christine Craig in the 1980s, is very much expressive of our time today as it relates to sexual and reproductive health and rights. The poet's tone, you can hear that frustration in the voice. And when we compare the 1980s to today and looking at how the recognition of gender equality and women's place in the workforce, it is commendable, yes. But when it comes to sexual and reproductive health and rights, there's great disappointment there in the region. About 106 million young people between the ages of 15 and 24 make up the region's total population. That is 20% of the Latin American and Caribbean region. This region has the second highest adolescent pregnancy rate in the world, with 74% of adolescent pregnancies being unintended. Maternal mortality is one of the leading causes of death among adolescents and youth, ages 15 to 24. And more than 97% of women of reproductive age live in countries with restrictive abortion laws. There are challenges when it comes to repealing these laws. So there are the religious fundamentalists and a general conservative society. The second any bill is introduced in Parliament to reform these laws, they shoot it down almost instantly. And then you have countries like the Dominican Republic who rejects totally to even debate this or present anything of the sort. And Trinidad and Tobago, where the government would tell you it is simply not a priority. That's what's happening. Even in countries that do allow abortion services, the stigma from the public is there with very little education, aren't even supported or programs supported by the government. But what is RH, what is the Right Here, Right Now platform doing? What are the young people doing? We're on the streets. We're going to pick up that slack. We're educating people, community engagements, social awareness programs, lobbying the government. With lobbying, there's a lot more to do concerning how we want to place ourselves in our society as young people, for young people. So repealing anti-abortion laws is just cracking that hard wall that separates us from the ICPD and the Sustainable Development Goals, and we hope to accomplish in this regard. Abortion has been fully legal in Guyana since 1995, and even though that was nearly 25 years ago, it has only been accessible in public institutions from 2015. Take in mind, access in rural communities is practically non-existent. There's a lack of education, so not a lot of people even know that abortion is legal in Guyana. There's lack of trained medical practitioners. If my organization, GRP, didn't do it, then in 2015, most medical practitioners in public institutions would not know how to perform abortion services. And of course, refusal to perform such services. In some public health institutions, we've had cases of the nurse would simply say, no, I will not encourage you to do this because of my religious beliefs. In a secular state's public health institution. Lobbying the government and implementing policies to educate women and protect their right to safe and affordable abortion services is high on our priority. And on the matter of LGBT rights. One day, Isabella, a trans woman still transitioning, was walking in a public square. Isabella was with her friend. And just there, a man shouted at her, "Fire! For fire and brimstone." You know, in the biblical story of Sodom and Gomorrah, the inhabitants of Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed by fire and brimstone. So in the Caribbean, when you say fire, effectively you want someone to be destroyed, LGBT person. So Isabella, in her defense, responded, "Eat salt." Now, verbal assault against lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender persons are not uncommon in my country and in the region. But what happened next shook the community to its core. The man took an ice pick out of his bag, ran to Isabella, and stabbed her repeatedly in her back. Isabella went to the hospital with that ice pick still in her back. She was not admitted into the female ward, as she identifies and expresses herself as it. She was placed in the male ward, and the nurse that was attending to her looked down on her, flicked at her breast, and said, "Which man would want breasts?" Isabella left that hospital, her bandages oozing with pus and blood, but she refused to go back. Why? I encouraged her, okay, report this to the police, because this is assault. This is a major violation against you, and you're right. She said, "What's the point?" And you know what? She was right to say that. Because in another case, where a trans woman was assaulted in a bus, public transportation pulled out, she went to the court. And the magistrate told her, "Leave my courtroom until you can come back here dressed as a man." That case was thrown out the court. It was dismissed. So, you know, that saying justice delayed is justice denied. Well, for the LGBT persons, it's simply justice is rejected. The Anglo-Caribbean is among the most discriminatory in the world as it relates to the rights of LGBT persons due to British colonial laws that were never repealed, and a religious and conservative society that refuses to even consider doing so. Same-sex intimacy between two consenting adults for most of these countries is a felony. It's a crime against the state. What business does the state have in any consenting adult's bed? This, to be charged with it, carries a prison sentence from 10 years to life imprisonment. You're still on the books. This is very ironic, considering the Caribbean is celebrated for its diversity, its multi-ethnicity, for its many cultures. Difference is celebrated, except for sexuality and gender diversity. We're making strides, however, only because of challenges. In August 2016 and April 2018, the Belize Supreme Court and the Trinidad and Tobago High Court, respectively, ruled that laws criminalizing homosexuality are unconstitutional because they were against constitutional fundamental rights. Rightly so. In November 2018, after 8 years of being in the Guyanese courts, the final Court of Appeal, the Caribbean Court of Justice, ruled that trans women, they have the right to cross-dress, to identify, to express that with their clothing. They have that right. All of the Guyanese courts for 8 years were saying this cross-dressing law is just there because we want to protect people. Protect people from what? So the court has deemed that it's unconstitutional because the Constitution basically sets out our rights, freedom of expression, and autonomy over our own bodies. So thank God the court realized that and can tell the government to strike that law down. So know that it's the courts, after civil suits, and not the legislators, not the lawmakers, not the reformers, that are changing these laws. We at the Right Here, Right Now platform believe that CSE, Comprehensive Sexuality Education, is the tool to achieve sensitization, understanding, and respect of the issues we face when it comes to SRHR. The lack of sexuality education in the Caribbean schools is very evident. Actually, the opposite of what my colleague Rena had pointed out. 20% of women in the Caribbean have a child by age 19. Average age of sexual debut is lower than the world average. Boys and girls are having sex at the age of 14. The Caribbean has the second highest HIV prevalence rate in the world. The unmet need for contraceptives among Caribbean adolescents is 41%, partly because the age of consent to access medical services in most Caribbean countries is higher than the age of sexual debut. And here's something else. For example, my country, Ghana, the age of consent is 16, but the age where you can access contraceptives or go for sexual and reproductive health care is 18. So you have a gap where you're saying, okay, have sex, it's fine, it's legal, but you can't access contraceptives, or if you come here for an abortion, if you come here for any checkups for STIs, walk with your parent. Who's walk? I'm not young, I'm not walking with my parent to the hospital. CSE does not only guarantee healthy lives, it guarantees better decisions. CSE helps young people to learn about love, sexuality, and diversity, and their sexual rights. Furthermore, it enables them to make healthy and informed decisions. It is because of CSE this room is actually filled with young leaders, young youth leaders, and that's something we should all be proud of. These people, I'll say us, what we're doing, our young people, we're committing our energy to bettering the lives not only ourselves but our entire communities, using CSE as that tool. It is a principle of the Right Here, Right Now platform to have young people lead when it comes to advocacy, projects, every step of the way. Young people must take that stand, and we are. So it's quite, commonly said young people are the leaders of tomorrow. But as the former UN Secretary General points out, no, we're the youth leaders, we're the leaders of today. So, I'd like to thank the government here today for all the work they have done so far, but also urge you and invite you to work with us young people to improve the lives, and especially in regards to our sexual health. And we must work together. We have to do this right here, right now, for the health and well-being of our society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jairo. As he was speaking and even sharing his poem, I was sitting here and I was like, young people are very expressive. And sometimes I've seen programs and strategies being developed that are not as expressive to the needs of young people. And when you hear someone like Jairo sharing his experience and even sharing that poem, you can already see the amount of work that we've got to do to ensure that whatever strategies or policies and laws that we place, do they actually address the true needs that young people express from their heart? I see that with what he shared as well, that